This is Harry Potter Year 1, Chapters 1 through 3. I'm going to talk about world building. If you haven't seen or read the Harry Potter books, I highly recommend it. I've talked with some friends, and this is like a generational book. Like, this is, right up there with different series, Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Star Trek. This is a generational type of series, so I highly recommend the books. I don't really want to talk about the book. I want to talk about world building. So most people have probably already seen or read, and if you haven't, please do. But really, what makes this book special is the universe that it's set in. So I want to talk about the world building, the attributes, the setting, the story, the rules of magic, that kind of thing. So Harry Potter Year 1, Chapter 1. Let's see here. Chapter 1 is called The Boy Who Lived. So, set in modern day England, seems to be the thing that I found really interesting was they start right into almost like a different class of society, right? Like, you're in a regular neighborhood, but the people that they center upon are the three people who can use magic: Professor Dumbledore, Professor McGonagall, and Hagrid. They all are able to interact, but they call each other by different names, right? Professor Dumbledore, Professor McGonagall, Minerva, Hagrid, right? They address each other differently. So it seems to be kind of a hierarchy, maybe more of a class system that exists in England than in US and elsewhere. But that was something that stood out to me. Also, they jump right into the magic with the lighter that absorbs the light that Dumbledore has, and also Hagrid's flying motorbike. Those seem to be artifacts, right? Those are items that have magical abilities or properties imbued into them. So that was kind of our first glimpse of magic. Also, it's implied that Professor McGonagall is the cat, but there's no super proof. So, I mean, it's true, but really neat that you can transform into animals. That's kind of an interesting twist. So, it kind of opens the possibilities that there is all kinds of different types of magic. You can, more than just waving a wand, right? There's artifacts that you can imbue, you can transform, you can do all kinds of different things. So just kind of a good opening, kind of get the imagination flowing. So chapter 2 is, let's see here, The Vanishing Glass. So they take a trip to the zoo, and my favorite part is Uncle Vernon in the car says motorcycles can't fly when Harry describes a dream that he had about him riding in a flying motorcycle. So that, to me, kind of tells that there's, Uncle Vernon with, little to no imagination. He kind of has closed his mind to any, possibility of anything supernatural kind of deal. So, there are some mysterious things that happen, right? Harry's hair always grows back, every time he gets a haircut. His sweaters shrink, as described in the book. And of course, they're at the zoo, and we all know that the glass disappears when Dudley, his cousin, is leaning up against it, and the snake escapes. And they kind of seem to see Harry talking to the snake. So that's also kind of an interesting magical property, right? Not only being able to transform into animals, but then to communicate with certain ones. So that could be another storyline to follow. Chapter 3 is Letters from No One. So Uncle Vernon, kind of wanting to take control of the household, gets the letters from Hogwarts about going to school, and it comes in through, it just keeps coming, and they, everything he does, more letters keep coming, so they end up leaving and trying to escape. Turns out they can't escape the letters. More keep coming to wherever they go, even like a shack on the edge of a cliff. And it's more of his denying that magic exists, right? It's him being a muggle, and a typical muggle, classic muggle, non-magical person. And we find out later that minors who have magical abilities are imbued with the trace, right? So that's how they find where they're at and send them the letters. So we do know that Hagrid shows up, but that's chapter 4. So this was my first world-building Harry Potter series review. So as always, buy your books used if you can, and check out the Harry Potter series.